And here we are, the final episode of Drive to Survive Season 3. Here are 3 things that I noticed in this episode. Welcome to my F1 channel, Peter on Pole. My name is Peter, in pole position. If you're into this kind of Formula 1 content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for many more reviews and reactions. The first thing I noticed, of course, is the end of relationships. This has got to be one of the years where the most change, the most musical chairs we have seen in Formula 1 history. So many teams being changed for the following year, so many drivers leaving, so many drivers not going into any teams. We go from Haas to Renault, Racing Point, Ferrari, McLaren, they've all been affected. The end of an era, and we're on to new things. For some, you felt more sorry for those who couldn't even make it to Formula 1 for the next year, like Alex Albon, Roman Grosjean, who thankfully is alive at least, and Kevin Magnussen. Although it did surprise me that they never mentioned Fernando Alonso coming into Renault for the next year, or Alpine as they would be called. There was a few things that Drive to Survive actually didn't talk about, but I understand why. They only had 10 episodes. I mean, there is only so much you could really put in there. Lewis winning his title, we didn't get that. We didn't get the crazy Grand Prix. Was it the Turkish Grand Prix? Insane scenes. The story at Williams. I mean, Williams, one of the most iconic teams in Formula 1. I mean, that is unbelievable. I'm gonna do another video, in fact, talking about the things that Netflix didn't do. So watch out for that. Second thing I noticed, imagine throughout the whole season, Racing Point were almost guaranteed third place. Do you remember at the start of the season when it was all about the Racing Point, the pink Mercedes, how fast it was doing in some incredible lap times. And then it's like they were in the battle still on the final race of the season in Abu Dhabi, and they were still fighting for this third place, which they eventually lost. So big up to McLaren. Don't know. How old am I that Danny Ricciardo has been in Formula 1 for 10 years? Really? Where have those 10 years gone? The third thing I noticed is Red Bull, the situation with Red Bull. Max Verstappen wins the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, and then I was thinking, as I was watching, I was thinking, man, if Red Bull had started seasons the way they finished them, because they usually finish them pretty good, with a few wins and a few good results there, then maybe they will actually be a force to reckon with, and we can take them seriously again. Look, they've signed Sergio Perez, so that I think they are taking this seriously. But even Christian Horner, towards the end of the episode, also mentioned, we've got to do this over a course of 23 races, not over a course of 1 race. And he mentioned that, Red Bull got a win in one of Mercedes' most dominant tracks, which was in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. So it was interesting for him to point that out, and to obviously know, he would know more so than I would in terms of the patterns that seem to be happening at Red Bull and how they need to address and change them. And fair play to Christian Horner, he's actually brought it out and said, you know what, we need to get strong for 2021. And I am fully supporting Red Bull to give us a good challenge for the 2021 season. And make sure you lock onto it. And if you watch this video after the season's finished, man, what a season it was, right? Question, throughout the entire season, I think even the previous seasons, Toto Wolff's voice when he's talking, when he's doing piece to camera, why does he sound like he's whispering or he has to be quiet? Is there something I'm not understanding? Am I the only one that just noticed that? Comment below if you did. Also, a great look at the behind the scenes of Aston Martin, the way Lawrence Stroll was looking around and talking about the cars and how amazing the cars are. And then when he saw the colour for the first time of what the Formula 1 car will look like, he said, look, people were jealous about our pace this year. Watch when they'll be jealous about our pace and the look of our car next year. And boy, is it a beauty. But anyway, my bonus point I want to bring up, Lewis Hamilton at the end of this episode. The imagery that Netflix was showing, the polarizing figure of George Floyd when his life was taken away by police officers, and the whole spectacle. Lewis Hamilton's season has not just been about racing. It's been far more than that this year, more than anything that we've ever seen from him. And it kind of brought me back to, it kind of centralized me a little bit where, as a black person, it's amazing how evil people can be. And it's not to say black people are not evil as well. Of course, every race has its problems. But the idea that, they were going through the history of Lewis Hamilton growing up as a kid, and even as an 8-year-old, he was dealing with racism. I mean, an 8-year-old boy is dealing with racism at such a young age. And it's so sad that we live in a world where people don't like people because of the way they look. Like, that is crazy to me. Like, it's to this day, it's something I still will never grasp, and I'm not sure anybody can grasp it. But the idea that somebody is disliked just because of how they look, and you look at the hate Lewis Hamilton gets, and it's astonishing when it comes to insulting Lewis. It's about his color, it's about this, that, and the other. He talks about his upbringing, how his parents grinded literally to keep a roof over their heads. And that was half of one battle. And then the other half is having to fit in and feel like, I don't even belong here. It was one of those where it's like, he's asking, why is it me that's the only black F1 driver? Surely there's talent out there that are black and all other colors and creeds. And it's just amazing to me how like evil people can be, any race and being racist towards anybody, it's unbelievable. I mean, what we've witnessed in 2020 has been a year where it's like no other. It's going in the history books. Our grandkids are going to be studying this in their books in history. And it's something that really, really like gripped me again, where it reminded me, my God, how much has happened in the last year. And I hope Lewis Hamilton stays in the sport as long as he can. And I hope that we get a more mixture of different races and different backgrounds in Formula One, because there are far more, there's so much talent out there, and more importantly than anything else, we hope for change. Every single person wants to see change in a scenario like this. Every single person wants to see racism end, wants to see discrimination end. All of anything evil, anything that is just horrific and vile and, you name it, we want to see it end. We want to see it stop. And shout out to Lewis Hamilton because of the bravery. Not many people I know would do that. I don't know if I would have even done it had I not seen. Now that I've got an example of a Lewis Hamilton who's done something like that, it's one of those things where I wonder if I would have been the same. What he's done is very brave. It's very bold. But he's coming from a place where he's fed up. He's had enough. It's not even a sense of courage anymore. It's a case of, no, things need to change. What the heck's going on here? And yeah, he's using his platform to do whatever. So, I hope to take some positives out of Lewis Hamilton's life, and even if I become successful at anything one day, I pray that I become somebody who fights for change in such categories. And yeah, that was just a moment which kind of brought me back, and it was a great way for Netflix to end it. And not only is it just in Formula One that Lewis has made that part of that face, that voice of the voiceless heard in that situation, but also in the entertainment field with Netflix. And I want to salute Netflix for recording that footage and putting it out there, because people who are not necessarily Formula One fans, but they love like series, they like to binge watch, say a Netflix documentary or a series or whatever, they will get to see that as well. And that's the more the awareness is spread, the more chance you have of some impact being made. But yeah, it was quite a crazy way to end it. What a crazy season it was. Drive to Survive Season 3. Comment below your review, your comments, your reactions. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about what we liked and what we didn't like about the season. With that said, peeps, lights out.